Bonjour, guten tag, buenos dias, and hello once again, wrestling fans, to Off the Top Rope Radio, right here on good old KQCK radio station, heard exclusively on KQCKlive.com. We're in the Santan Valley here in Arizona. Beautiful skies, sunny, blue, warm, 100 degrees on the old thermometer, and we're going to give you 100% like we always do right here on Off the Top Rope Radio. Just an absolutely fantastic day here in September the 19th, 2012 to be exact, and we've got a fantastic wrestling program for you. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Brian Shank. Like always, I'm the host of the program, and sitting across from me by pushing all the buttons and making things happen is, of course, Joe. Nobody better lay a finger on my butterfinger, Carreiro. What's up, big guy?
Hey, doing good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, man. You know, can you beat this weather in September anywhere else in the world? I mean,
I don't. Maybe Hawaii. I don't know.
Yeah, probably Hawaii. That's pretty common. But you know, like up in Colorado, they're getting snow. They're getting frost advisories in Chicago. They're getting rain.
Well, you know, it snowed here this morning.
Yeah, snowed with what?
What's that?
Snowed what? Did your talcum powder get loose in the wind or something?
Maybe that was it.
Yeah, your foot powder. Boy, you should probably go find some of that stuff.
Yeah, I'll go look.
Oh, man. But anyway, it's good to be back in the studios here, Off the Top Rope Radio, back on the air. KQCK radio station, as we mentioned. It's a wonderful day, and we do appreciate you, the wrestling fan, for tuning in. Just to let you know, 2:30 p.m. on Pacific Time Zone is our new start time for Off the Top Rope Radio. 5:30 on the Eastern side, and of course 4:30 if you live in the Central Time Zone. So that's pretty much the big news there in terms of us changing over stuff. And don't forget, too, we are going to be having two fantastic wrestling superstars on the show today via telephone. My first guest, which we can go ahead and dial him up at any time, Joe, will be the one and only, the Russian Bear, Mr. Ivan Koloff. I can't wait to talk to him. Uncle Ivan, as I've always called him. He's a sweetheart of a guy, and boy, back in the day, man, when you saw him inside the wrestling ring and doing his promos with Nikita and, of course, Crusher Khrushchev and Don Kernodle and those guys, I mean, he was personified. He was a great heel. When you looked at him and he talked to the camera and he did the Russian accent, I tell you something, Nikita and me, our nephew Nikita and Crusher Khrushchev will take care of the whole tag team championship. When he'd do that, I mean, you knew right away there was some trouble going on. He was a great heel, a fantastic wrestler, and an even nicer man. A true gentleman, someone who loves his family, loves his Lord God, and, of course, loves the wrestling fans out there. And he loves us. I mean, what the hell? Every time I call him, he says, yeah, I'll be on the show. I mean, I'm even interrupting his dinner plans for him to be on Off the Top Rope Radio. So it's always a pleasure to have Ivan Koloff on the phone. We're going to get him on here in just a few moments. There's also some big news coming up. And I'm going to touch base on that a little bit later on in the program. It has to do with TNA Wrestling coming out here within about 28 days or so. We're going to talk about that exclusively later on in the program. And at about the 2:55 mark, we should have Ronnie Garvin checking in. Hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin. I remember when he turned heel, Ronnie Garvin, the headline was Hands of Stone, Feet of Clay, Ronnie Garvin. But I'll tell you, someone who doesn't have any feet of clay, he has a heart of gold, and that's, of course, my good friend, Uncle Ivan, Mr. Ivan Koloff, the Russian Bear. Welcome, sir, once again to Off the Top Rope Radio with Brian and Joe. How you doing? Ivan, you there?
Yes, comrade, I can hear you, but you are breaking up real bad.
I am breaking up?
This American communication is not good.
We apologize for the American communication. We must have AT&T, so we apologize for that. No, I'm just kidding. Ivan Koloff, it's a pleasure to have you here, buddy. How are you today?
Doing great, comrade. Very good. Yes, sir.
Good to hear your voice again. You know, it's funny when you come on the air like that and you kind of throw back the old Russian voice of when you captured all those people back in the days in the 80s and stuff like that, and even the 70s as well. You know, I'll never forget the first time that I actually heard you talk like you're talking right now with us as Jim Paris, Mr. Ivan Koloff, and I said to myself, you know, wow, I just never pictured you sounding like anything but, let me tell you something, Nikita Koloff. I mean, that just blew me away when I heard you. Do you hear that a lot from fans when they talk with you and say, God, I just never pictured you sounding like this?
That's right. A lot of them feel that way, I think, because of the interviews of the past. But for a while there, over the years, you had to stick in character, because if you didn't, people would get confused, or at least not be involved so much in the storyline of what you were doing, and it really added to it. But actually, I was telling the truth back then, comrade, because we all know that the Russian athlete is far superior to the American because we eat good food, good borscht. American eat French fries and hamburgers, so they are not in shape like us good Russian athletes.
You got that right, absolutely. Of course, Ivan Koloff tuning in with us, and you make me laugh. And when I talk to you, I feel like I'm talking to a friend that I've known for 30 years. I've probably known you for 6-7 years or so, and it was a real pleasure when I first got a chance to meet you and talk with you and everything. And you're very inspirational to a lot of people out there. Matter of fact, I was speaking with Jake the Snake Roberts today, and he said, please make sure to let Ivan Koloff know much respect, and that he would not want to try to tangle with you even to this day because he's sure that you'd whoop his butt. So that's a personal message from Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah, he's one of the greats for sure. I was even around his dad when they wrestled years ago for a few years. Mm-hmm. But Jake is really a great showman, great wrestler himself, and always has been. Mm-hmm. A headliner, and well, I appreciate you passing that on. And
you got it.
Of course, I think highly of him. And one thing about it, all these years, meeting so many guys and having these relationships with different guys as far as, getting along, camaraderie, whether it was an opponent or a partner. Mm-hmm. It just seemed like I got along pretty well with all of them and remain friends to this day. So
yeah,
that's a tribute, I guess, to the fact that either I got patience or they got a lot of patience, maybe both.
I think we all probably have a little bit of patience for one another in this world. I think it works both ways. But it's funny, too, because when he said that, I remember when I was very good friends, as were you, of course, and obviously probably better friends with Mike Hegstrand, who used to be known as, of course, Road Warrior Hawk. We lost Mike about almost 10 years ago. And, I remember the day that he passed on, and I cried like a baby because he was very good friends with me, and we, always did a lot of radio together, and he wanted to get into radio. He wanted to ever try to do his own show one day, and I told him, I says, man, if you're ever in the Chicagoland area, when I used to live out in that area, you better get your butt in the studio, and we'll do a show on the fly. And I bring him up because he also said the same thing about you by saying, what a sweetheart, Ivan Koloff. And it was so funny hearing that because you and Nikita had such a great feud with the Road Warriors back in the day. Fantastic marathon, hard-fought, stiff matches. And just to hear that again from, Hawk and remember those words, that's quite a tribute as well.
Yeah, I tell the stories about Hawk, of course, and he was well-respected because he didn't take any guff off anybody. Somebody was, whether it's a fan or one of the boys, mm-hmm. His idea. He was a very proud man, very capable guy.
Yeah.
And if you ended up trying to get smart with him or push him around, he'd challenge you in the New York second. And he would, a matter of fact, the one time that, and if you ever get to talk to Ronnie Garvin, you can ask him about it, but I witnessed it in the dressing room in Atlanta. And Mike could know this, Hawk could know this, that if I was to tell a story, it was in good flavor to him because I love the guy. He was not only a great opponent, I think, but an asset in the wrestling business. They ended up saying something back and forth, and Hawk said, "Oh yeah," and, you couldn't do that to me or something like that. And Ronnie, of course, and no slouch himself, one of the top guys in the business. He ended up while the Hawk was seated, snatched him in the front face lock, and the struggle was on. Ron took him down to face down on the concrete type of thing in the dressing room. But Hawk, so determined, fought his way up and picked Ron up. Couldn't shake him loose, but he got him up. So that showed the great determination and strength right there. But it was just the idea that he had a lot of, fight in him, a lot of gumption, and think of him off. But I think of Mike Road Warrior Hawk often, and fond memories, up and down the road, all the matches, some rough matches, and it was great. Yeah, good memories of it.
That's awesome. We are speaking, of course, to Mr. Ivan Koloff right here, the Russian Bear, great tag team, great singles wrestler in all his career, and had a wonderful, wonderful resume here. I mean, I can go on and on with all the different titles you've won, but yeah, we already know all that stuff. But, hearing your stories about the people that I grew up watching, and I know a lot of the fans out here who have great memories as well of people like Road Warrior Hawk and Ronnie Garvin, it takes me back to Saturday at 5:05 Central, 6:05 Eastern, of course, on TBS, the Superstation, and watching the wrestling show at Tony Schiavone and David Crockett and Jim Ross eventually came around the road. And, there must have been maybe 60, 70 people in the audience on two sides of the ring. And, you guys came out and did your thing. I've always wanted to ask you about that studio. How small was that studio, and how cramped were you guys, like, in the locker room and all that stuff? Was it real tiny, or was it kind of accessible? I mean, what was it like backstage in that place?
Is this the one in Raleigh, you mean?
Well, whichever one it was where you guys taped all the shows for Saturday night for TBS.
Yeah. We ended up doing the interview part mostly down at the Prior Bend office with Jim Crockett Promotions in Charlotte. One day a week, we would end up doing the interviews, and the live interviews, though, that went on during the show, which was taped like in Norton Arena or at the studio. First of all, at the studio in Channel 5, we'd come down and we would do it. It was kind of crowded in there, small audience, maybe 100 people, and two dressing rooms, both of them upstairs. So it was kind of close quarters, and matter of fact, I've seen some fights up there just among the guys. The tension spill over and go into the dressing room. So it was quite a thing. And backing up a little bit, though, I wanted to mention, and I meant to mention about Hawk. The beautiful part of the whole thing was, even though that he passed away unexpected like he did, he had just become a Christian about 2 years before that, accepted Christ as his Lord and Savior. So that's why I'm, so happy that he did, because, that's the only way to the Father is through the Son. But to know that someday we'll be able to walk the streets of gold, to me, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, I remember Hawk being very close to his God and Lord, and at the time, and him and I talked about it a few times, in regards to what he was going through, and it was a very sad day, like you said, Uncle Ivan. It was quite traumatic. Matter of fact, I was driving home from a football game, and a friend of mine texted me, and I was like, "What?" And I got home, I rushed home, and I pulled up that message board, and I just like, oh my God, I just felt like someone just took my left lung out of my body, and it was quite traumatic. But I'm glad too that he was able to make peace with himself and with God, and to move on into the afterlife. And I'm sure he's looking down on us and saying that if Ronnie was here right now to put that front face lock on, I don't know if it'd be the same situation or not.
Oh yes.
Ivan, we also have some people on the message board here. A good friend of ours here, CAC Morgan is how he goes by. Of course, Morgan Dollar from the Cauliflower Alley Club. I know you know him pretty well. He says, before Ivan Koloff was a Russian, he was Red McNulty, billed from Dublin, Ireland. He says, then he was a Russian, but born in Canada.
Yeah, that's Canada, Russia. Yeah. I have to tell the people, they say, I thought you were Russian. How did you end up in Canada? I said, well, they wanted to get rid of me. I was too bad to stay in Russia, so they put me on a raft down the Bering Strait, and I ended up, some Indians pulled me in and down the coast, and they raised me up there. So I figured anybody that would end up doing that, I must have some gumption about that. It's a tall tale, anyway.
That's great stuff. Well, whoever raised you with that raft and everything, I mean, they did a good job, because they raised a really tough competitor inside the ring, and someone who obviously loves his fans and loves what he does and his family. My hat's off to you. You're a great person for that, and it's always good to talk professional wrestling with you. I want to kind of go back a little bit, to the days of when you wrestled, because in Jim Crockett Promotions, that was one of my favorite territories. There was just always something special and real about Jim Crockett Promotions and the NWA. You know, the promos were spot on. The matches had psychology, and there was a lot of great intensity in the air between people like Tully Blanchard and Dusty Rhodes. Of course, we mentioned you and the Road Warriors.
Yeah.
How did that feel in 1988? I think it was around October or so in 1988 when actually you made your face turn and you joined Nikita again. Were you for that face turn, or was it something that they came to you and suggested, or did you say, hey, how about we go with the face? I mean, how did that all come about? I'm really curious.
As far as Nikita and I getting together?
Well, Nikita obviously turned face back in like 87, but then in 88, you became a baby face like around October of 88. How did that feel for you to just, I mean, after all those years as a great heel, to become a baby face? Were you for that?
Yeah, I was actually, never met him before. It was just presented to me that he'd be a good candidate as a nephew for me because he looked the part and everything. Great athlete, so I just went on the word, and I was really impressed whenever I first met him. Of course, he's close to 300 pounds and really buffed up and cut and educated and great athlete, played football. So I said, hey, couldn't get much better than this. So I was thrilled to have him as a partner because Nikita caught on quick. I mean, you know, wrestling is like anything else. The more time you spend at it, the better you get at it. And you can only learn so much at the school type of thing or at taking lessons. What you got to do is on-the-job training, and basically that's the way Nikita learned, like showing him a different hold each day, talking psychology and on the car on the way there, and just applying himself each night, and him going, you know, listening and going along with it. You pick up quick, and he was an asset for sure to have somebody like Nikita. It revived it because, you know, I ended up finding quitting in '89, going to the independent circuit, and I still do stuff with them as far as the independent wrestling. But I think it was '83. Nikita came in the Crockett area right on through till I quit. We had some dealings back and forth, and we were partners. We broke away, and he became a superpower with Dusty Rhodes, and this American Dusty Rhodes stealing my nephew away. Anyway, it added to it a little bit, you know, and then later on we had a couple of things there. And then finally I just decided with my injuries and that I'd go to the independent circuit. And believe it or not, I just had a match here a couple of weeks ago here in Eden, they call it, about Greensboro, and 2 weeks before that in Asheville against the Mass Superstar.
Wow.
Both chain matches.
Chain matches?
After 50 years, you know, what kind of matches they were.
Wow. Ivan, you're pushing about 49 years old, man. You better be careful on those chain matches now.
Yeah, 39. 39 for the 31st time.
There you go. That's awesome. I want to give you a two-part question here, if I could. We were talking about Nikita and everything else. I know that he turned babyface after Magnum's big accident because, I mean, they had to go somewhere with another babyface with Dusty Rhodes, and I think eventually down the road Magnum was probably in line for a championship run. I know that was a tragic event as well, but with Magnum TA having his accident and being basically, you know, retired with professional wrestling, whose idea was it to turn Nikita babyface, and how did you feel about your own face turn back in '88?
I believe Dusty Rhodes was the booker at that time for Jim Crockett Promotions, and Magnum was his partner when that accident happened. Of course, Dusty wasn't really without a partner, so holding the booker's job, he ended up writing it in that Nikita, not much I could do, you know, as far as being somebody that's working for Jim Crockett Promotions when the booker books it that way. So it was Dusty who made that decision, and I didn't even know about it until after we had showed up at the Coliseum in Charlotte, and the announcement that surprise partner with Dusty Rhodes against, I think it was the Andersons, Nikita Koloff. I heard a big ruckus about it. Looked out and realized that Nikita didn't say nothing to me. Dusty Rhodes, the office, nobody said nothing to me. So
wow.
I figured they're trying to tell me something. They want to do this no matter what I looked at it or not. So that's fine, though. It went good. I had a good run, and that's all that mattered. But you got to accept some things. It's something like this big man right now with the Hall of Fame thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't understand why sometimes you're not recognizing some things, whether it's a personal thing or if it's something that you're not aware of or something. But maybe this next time, maybe I'll be considered here for the Hall of Fame for Vince. I'd like to be part of it. I think that'd be good. But meanwhile, I'm just going ahead with my ministry and enjoying that, officiate weddings and speak at churches and make appearances and do autographs for charity. So
nice.
I keep busy. Keeps you young, you know what I mean, brother?
Oh, yeah, you got to keep young nowadays. I mean, if you're not young at heart, then you're only old in mind, I guess is what they say. So, you know, that's a good thing. But tell me if you can, before we go, because I know you got dinner plans and everything else, but I wanted to get your opinion on that face turn that you had when you turned face in '88. How did you feel about turning babyface?
I didn't really do anything. It's just what the office did.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it was a thing where I think I was wrestling Paul Jones with one arm tied behind my back
mm-hmm.
because of something that he had done in a match, and turned out that I ended up winning the match, and he had it set up where his Russian assassin guys would come down and attack me, and they beat me up, and then it automatically made me like the underdog, I guess,
mm-hmm.
and had different guys come out to try to help me. A Junkyard Dog, I believe, came to my aid,
mm-hmm.
and later on, he came back and helped me fight against these guys, and but that was basically the way they did it, just by injecting some other guys like Paul Jones and
mm-hmm.
The Russian assassins on it. And, I think the people bought it. You know, I think they enjoyed it. They understood what was happening. So if you can convince the people and they get behind it, I'm surprised to this day. I go out there and a lot of people want to cheer me. I guess because they're getting older now, and they figure to try to encourage this old guy, we better cheer for it.
Well,
I encourage the folks to go online, IvanKoloff.com.
Yep.
I have a ministry, like I said. I got pictures on there. If you'd like to purchase a picture that helps my ministry, or a book, or just the idea that you need an officiant for your wedding, or want to have me booked for an appearance or a show or something, that'd be great. Yeah, keeps me feeling young, but I got keep busy, you know.
Very nice. You know, I'll tell you what, I just celebrated in August 18 years of marriage to my wife, and we're still going strong to this day. I almost feel like now I want to get divorced from her and get remarried and have Ivan Koloff marry us. You know, I would really like to do that. I don't think she'd go for it.
Wow, what a good idea, Brian.
Yeah, I know. Joe, my producer, thinks it's a great idea, but I think there's a little tongue-in-cheek. Probably not a good idea, right, Uncle Ivan? Maybe just stay married, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people like to even use me to renew their vows. You know, it's a lot
Hey,
of
there you go.
People want to do that. You know, so that's kind of cool.
Hey,
yeah.
That's a great idea. You know, 20 years is only 2 years away. So when 20 years comes, I'm going to give you a call, and we're going to do the renewing thing. I want Ivan Koloff to renew our vows. I think that would be wonderful. I would love that.
Yeah, it's something unique. Matter of fact, I had a couple here that's getting married in a couple weeks that evidently they're using it for a spread in New York for the wedding book or something. I don't know. Evidently it's going to get some publicity, so I always welcome that for sure, you know. But
oh, that's awesome.
It's always a plus for sure. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Uncle Ivan, it's been a wonderful time having you on the air today. Of course, Ivan Koloff, a true gentleman, someone who loves the wrestling fans, loves the wrestling business, and, you know, loves coming on the air and talking with us. And we really appreciate you interrupting your dinner plans to be part of Off the Top Rope Radio here with Brian and Joe. And all I can say to you, sir, is thank you. It's good. It's been a pleasure and honor having you on the show, and God bless you. I mean, you're just a wonderful man.
Well, I appreciate you, too. If I could put just one last plug in besides IvanKoloff.com.
Sure.
My daughter is a gospel singer and son-in-law.
Oh.
They're real good. The Highway Revival is the name of their group. And you go online, highwayrevival.com, and check them out. They go all over every weekend singing, and they got the drummer, and they got the piano player, and the whole thing. So they're real good. Anyway, I appreciate you, Brian. God bless you. Good to talk to you again, comrade.
All right, you as well. Now, don't forget, IvanKoloff.com, highwayrevival.com for his daughter there in a gospel band. I'm going to check it out when I get on the show. And again, Uncle Ivan, thank you so much, buddy. You take care.
Ivan, thank you very, very much for coming on. We always appreciate having you.
Pleasure, brother.
Okay.
Yes, blessings to the fans out there, too.
Okay, God bless you. There you go. Uncle Ivan Koloff right there on Off the Top Rope Radio. He's a heck of a guy. I mean, you talk about a performer, you know, I used to always just love the way that he would kick somebody when they were down. He had like that left foot going, and he would stomp on them, and he had like these big freaking tree trunk legs. And when he'd hit you, man, with those legs like that, it was incredible and just fantastic. I always enjoyed his wrestling work, and it was believable. It was awesome, and we just really appreciate his time being here. And by the way, Joe, that might be him calling in on that line right there. Hopefully that's him right there, because we're going to be having Ronnie Garvin on the phone here in just a moment or two. Hands of Stone, someone who is one of a very select few people who is legitimately one of the tough guys in this world. And we are talking about, of course, Mr. Hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin. We're going to have him on in just a moment. But don't forget, later on the program, we're going to be talking about the big TNA Wrestling Bound for Glory pay-per-view coming its way here in Phoenix very, very soon. And I think we do probably have Ronnie on the phone in just a moment here. We're going to get him patched on and everything. But again, if you want to go check out more about Ivan Koloff, IvanKoloff.com, and Highway Revival for his daughter's band, which is, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, if she can sing like he can wrestle, I think you might just even forget about American Idol. Just let her win the whole thing, because you talk about professional wrestling. And just, you know, we're celebrating the NWA today, the National Wrestling Alliance, Jim Crockett Promotions. We're having a blast talking and reliving some of the memories and whatnot. And we have Ronnie Garvin on the phone here in just a moment. We're going to go back as well, discuss all his accolades in the business and what he's done and where he's at now and what he's doing. And it's always a pleasure to talk, of course, to the one and only Mr. Hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin, who is on the phone with us right now. Champ, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I can't complain.
That's awesome.
Alive every morning.
All right, that's good to hear. I'll tell you, I called you yesterday. Thought I'd try to reach out to you so we can get you on the air. And I left a message, and I was at work. I didn't hear my phone ring, and I got this message from one of the truest, nicest gentlemen I ever met in my life. That is, of course, Ronnie Garvin. And he's like, give me a call. I'm going to try to be here where I can, because you have recently moved from where you were before a year ago, and you were in the midst of doing that the last time we had you on the air. And I want to ask you, do you really like where you're at right now?
Oh, I mean,
Whoop.
That's what I feel like. I mean, I'm in the middle of nowhere. It's quiet, peaceful. Nature is beautiful up here. The colors are already changing up in this mountain.
Wow.
I'm very happy.
Good for you, man. Just do me one favor. Don't move around. Stay right where you're at, because we can hear you just fine. And you told me before that you have to stand on one part of your porch because you're so far out there that if you move around, it's going to break up. So just wherever you're at right now, you stay right there, champ, okay?
Okay.
All right. We are, of course, speaking with Ronnie Garvin, Hands of Stone, a fantastic professional wrestler, good friend of ours here at Off the Top Rope Radio. Brian Shank here with you, Joe C. across the board. And, we just had on Ivan Koloff a moment ago, and you know Ivan for many, many years, and he was really happy to hear you're going to come on the air and talk with us as well. He wanted me to say hello to you, first of all, and he also wanted me to bring up a story that he witnessed in the backstage area back in the NWA days. He said, please make sure you ask him that. I'm sure he's going to remember. So if I may go ahead and bring up this story that Ronnie said, or that Ivan said about you, Ronnie. He talked about the late, great good friend of mine, Mike Hegstrand, of course, Road Warrior Hawk. He said there was an instance with you and Hawk backstage kind of talking, and Hawk was saying, well, you think you're tough, you're big, and, kind of like just goofing around and whatnot. And you said something to the fact that Ivan had mentioned that, well, I can do this, I can do that. And I guess out of nowhere, you put a front face lock on Hawk while he was sitting down. And as big and tough and strong as Hawk was, Ivan said he just couldn't get out of it. Ronnie had him in a good position, and he said it was a sight to see. So he wanted me to have you remember that? And if you want to kind of expound on that, we'd love to hear your feedback on it.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Well, you know, Hawk was a big guy, but he was limited in his wrestling, and I guess a lot of people don't think you can take a hold of someone and keep them down. And I made a believer out of him. Of course, we were good friends, and I've always respected and always liked Hawk.
Right.
But he kept teasing me, and anyway, that's the story. But he didn't get mad, and you know, he might have been a little embarrassed. I don't know. He never said anything. But we were friends after.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, we were good friends too, him and I, and he used to always, you know, want to do radio. I was telling Uncle Ivan about this. He always wanted to do a career in radio after he got done wrestling. He always called me up and go, Brian, let's get on doing some radio. You know, I'd be like, hey, whenever you want, man, you call me and I'll juggle my schedule around you, because he was so fun to talk to, and he was a lovable guy, had a heart of gold, and as big as a hubcap, you know, just a great person.
Oh, yeah.
And we are celebrating the National Wrestling Alliance, Jim Crockett Promotions. That's kind of the theme of the show today. We had Ivan Koloff, a great singles champion in his own right, kind of known for tag team wrestling in the NWA. And now we're talking, of course, to Hands of Stone Ronnie Garvin, a former heavyweight champion, defeating Ric Flair back in 1987. Let's talk a little bit about that, because the last time we had you on the air, we discussed it a little bit. But tell me, first of all, what you remember from the match itself when you won the championship.
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't. You know, I've always took wrestling as a job. All matches, I've had some great matches. I can go on and on with the list of guys, and sometimes in some moments when you think you're by yourself, and you think of a guy you had a good match, or you traveled with, but the match I had with Flair, well, I had quite a few matches with Ric Flair, and like I said, to me it was a job. It was so much the glory and the title, and it was a business. My bottom line was money, and that's all I was interested in. That's the only reason I was in wrestling. I made a pretty darn good living. I don't think I could have done that well on construction or being a plumber or anything like that, or I would have hated being a lawyer. I would have committed suicide. Having to lie all my life, I think I would have committed suicide. Oh, my God. Or a politician, by the way. No, I don't think I could have lowered myself that low. But Flair was a good wrestler, but there was so many of them, and it's not fair to just say, well, one guy's the greatest. That's probably 50 the greatest, maybe 100. Look at Ivan Koloff. There's one. To me, he's one of my heroes. Yep. That's the only reason they call him the Bear. I still got bruises from that guy. He's a good man, and I want you to tell him hi for me if you don't mind. I'm going to do that. I'm going to actually probably talk to him later on this week, and I always like to call everybody up afterwards and just say thank you and stuff. So I definitely will do that. I told him about how you're living out where you are right now, and he just said he wishes you the best. And the NWA back then, as you mentioned, it was a job, but I know that you definitely had a lot of fun with the guys and with the boys and whatnot. And I was talking to Uncle Ivan about the studio that you did the TBS Saturday shows at. It was like about 100 fans on two sides of the ring, and the flags were hanging down, and Tony Schiavone and, of course, David Crockett were doing the commentating and stuff like that. Those shows, to me, Ronnie, were so magical because it was a small setting. It was just so believable and so awesome. What kind of memories do you have of that particular facility that you did those shows at? Was it cramped? Was it small? Was it sweaty? Was it uncomfortable? Was it cozy? I mean, what was your opinions on that particular arena that you wrestled in? I never was uncomfortable when I wrestled. I went out there and I did my best, and always had a good time. Like I said, I took it as a job. I took it I'm here to have a good time too. And there was a lot of good talent back then. It was surrounded by talent. Today it seems like I don't know. It's just they call it wrestling, but to me it's more like bodybuilders. Back then, we had a lot of guys, they had buggy whip arms. Their bodies was athletic, but there was no 20-inch pythons and veins coming out of their necks and their foreheads. And And but then you had to wrestle, and that was the name of the game. You know, I wrestled hour and a half. I had a match one time 2 hours and 40 minutes. And people today say, "What? That guy wrestled 20 minutes." You know, they get in the ring and they look like what I call two douchebags locking up. You know, I think some 80-year-old women could do the same thing.
Yeah.
Even this attitude about shaking hands like a rag.
Yeah.
Guy hands his hand and it's loose. And what kind of a man is that?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of a handshake is that?
Mm-hmm.
But of course, the world changes, you know. But like I say, my good memories is studio wrestling. To me was the best. You have to go out there and you have to perform because you were 5 feet away from the fans.
Sure.
And the cameras were on top of you. And anyway, just nothing but positive things I've got.
Well, you know, and that studio that we talked about there a moment ago, I mean, it was very magical in a lot of ways for a wrestling fan like myself. You know, I was in my teen years in high school, and I just always remembered looking so forward to those 2 hours or sometimes an hour if Braves baseball was interrupting it. And just, I remember just how interesting it was, and I remember Bobby Eaton coming off that top rope, damn near hitting the lights in the studio all the time, and you know, you doing the Garvin stomp in the middle of the ring, no knee pads on, no shoulder pads on. You just had a pair of trunks and boots and a hard left and a hard right, and you had the towel you'd throw it out to the fans. And it was just like you said a moment ago. It was wrestling, and it was damn good wrestling, and it was, like you said, it was a job, which I totally understand and I respect. But you did the job very well, and there was a lot of professionals there who worked with you day in and day out, and you traveled up and down the roads with them. They did the job so well in the same sense, and there was just something magic about Jim Crockett Promotions and the NWA, and I just want to first of all say thanks for adding to those memories for a lot of wrestling fans out there who are listening right now.
Well, I had a great career. I'm very fortunate to be grateful about the wrestling fans. They made us a living. There's still some great fans today. I mean, I go to these signing autographs and people say, I remember you 35 years ago. And it's great to see that because I know back then and even today, people pay their hard-earned money to go see something, and I'm sure they don't want to see garbage. And if you don't pour your heart into it, it's just like an entertainer goes and sings. You can tell the efforts. You can tell the efforts in anything.
Right.
And if there's no effort and there's no blood and sweat and whatever, especially sweat, and the guy is trying his best, people respect that, and people enjoy watching. We did things that most people couldn't do, and that's one of the things. It's like when I watch a good singer. Well, I can't sing. I respect that. Yeah. I said, my God, I wish I could do that. Or some musicians or anybody that performs.
Yep.
And there's different levels. There's people that you can tell. I mean, they're going 120%. And then there's some other guy, some other person will go out there, and you can tell they're just killing time to get out of there.
No, I totally understand that for sure. I mean, I think that kind of goes with everything. And if you guys are just tuning in here to Off the Top Rope Radio, first of all, welcome. And we are speaking, of course, to the former WCW, NWA, I should say, heavyweight champion, Mr. Ronnie Garvin, Hands of Stone. Always a pleasure having you on the program here. And let's talk a little bit about, you talked about some of the people you were working with and some of the people who maybe at times couldn't do this and couldn't do that. Did you have anybody in particular that you enjoyed working more and wrestling more than someone else? Because I always ask that of everybody. It's interesting to hear sometimes the names. I mean, I remember a lot of people said this person or that person, but was there anybody in particular that you remember from that Jim Crockett era that you enjoyed wrestling more than maybe somebody else?
Oh, well, there were some guys, you went out there and wrestle, and it's like dancing. You dance with somebody that can't dance, you have a lousy dance. And you dance with somebody that knows how to dance, well, you got shows like Dancing with the Stars. That's what, you got class, you got talent. I remember guys like Bob Orton Jr., even his dad, Senior, were great wrestlers, the great Malenko.
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah.
And I remember Greg Valentine. there's so many guys, and I'm sure I'm going to forget some. The Bear, Ivan Koloff.
Yeah.
Right, guys like that. It was just it was fantastic, and you have to respect those guys. They know how to wrestle, and you know, they went out there and they did their darn best, and they weren't lazy, and it was enjoyable.
Nice.
You know, to me, it's just like a good fight. It makes you feel good when you're done.
Oh yeah, well sure. Especially if you do it as well as you have done in the past, without a doubt. You know, Jim Clark Promotions, you know, being in the Atlanta area and stuff like that, you know, the southern states and whatnot, you know, very close ties with Georgia Championship Wrestling as well in terms of it, you know, kind of the territories back in the day. You know, you'd see someone wrestling in Georgia, then they, you know, wrestle with Jim and everything else. Memories of Georgia Championship Wrestling for you. You had a great feud with Jake the Snake Roberts. I remember there was a lot of blood involved.
There was another guy. What a guy. I mean, Jake the Snake, his personal life is tragic. You know, he's had a lot of problems. But as a wrestler, I wrestled him all over Ohio, Michigan, Georgia. We went all over the place. And Ted DiBiase is another guy. Bart Anderson. I mean, so much talent there that you know, and the more you talk about it, the more names come up. You start thinking of all those names. And it's hard to pinpoint just one guy in particular because, like I said, there's so many.
There is.
And I bet a lot of people would ask me, well, is he the greatest? Well, I don't think so. You know, it's like if somebody was to tell me I was the greatest, I said, you know, you're just full of BS, you know? That's, you know, you're in the business, you got so many wrestlers, you know, to be the greatest, you might be one of them. You know, but one of them out of, what, hundreds?
Yeah.
I'd say there's at least 50 to 100 guys that I could name if I sat down and start thinking that I consider. One of my heroes was Funk Jr.
Dory Funk Jr.? Yeah.
Oh, I used to love to watch him wrestle, him and Dory Funk. I mean Dory Funk Jr. and Jack Briscoe. It was unbelievable to that.
Well, I'll tell you, there's such a list of people that you mentioned that there is in your realm and stuff like that, and in your area. And there was somebody that you mentioned a moment ago that, you know, we had on the show here just a few weeks ago, and it was really kind of cool to hear your comments about that. And that is, of course, Jake the Snake Roberts. And I bring up Jake the Snake for a reason, because if I'm not mistaken, Joe, across the board here pushing all the buttons, I think we have Jake the Snake Roberts calling in who would like to get on the air with us and talk to you. Would you like that?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I haven't.
Go ahead. Do we? Okay. 1 second, Ronnie. Make sure we got you. Ooh, some feedback there. Okay. Making sure.
That was interesting.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second, Jake. I want to make sure we got Ronnie. Are you still there, my friend?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, Jake. Hold on 1 second, please. Ronnie, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Jake. Can you hear Ronnie?
Yeah, I hear that sorry son or whatever, my. I'm still in pain from wrestling you. Yeah, right. Hey, guys, let me tell you something about that son of a gun. I love the man to death, but that's because he beat me so damn bad that it scared me so bad I was afraid not to love him. But he's the only guy I ever got in the ring with, man. He just went out there and did it. And some of my greatest work was in the ring with that man, and it wasn't really wrestling; it was self-defense for me. If it had been a straight fight, I'd have given up about 10 minutes into the match. Wow. But it was always a pleasure, and I hold him in the utmost, man. He's a favorite for me, man, and I mean that from my heart. It was always a pleasure to go in there and be on his ass, and when he'd get fed up with it, his nipples would get hard, and he'd get up and kick the shit out of me. I mean, that's the truth. His nipples got hard every time we want to make a comeback, you know. And I didn't look any lower to see if anything else was hard because that scared me half to death.
Now, Ronnie, you got to reply to that one, Ronnie. Go ahead.
Well, Jake, I'll tell you what. The feeling is mutual, believe me. always thought you was one of the best. And every minute I spent in the ring, I enjoyed it, even though I come out of there with whelps. But you came out of there with whelps, and remember the scrap matches? I mean,
guys, let me tell you something. We did a strap match in Atlanta after a couple of guys that had strap matches and damn near killed the whole damned idea because it was such crap.
Uh-huh.
I won't mention Tommy Rich and Buzz Sawyer's names. Oh, God, I just did it. Oh, well. But Ronnie and I said, we got to give it up out there, man. It's in the Omni, and by God, we went out there and we gave it up and did some. Jesus Christ. I never had welts in places like that. I didn't even know I had those kind of places. But the funny thing was, I'd just met Cheryl about a month before, my second wife. Mm-hmm. And she was quite upset seeing what that sorry son of a gun had done to me. And the parking here at the Omni was underground, and I'm selling it, of course, because I was wanting some sympathy nookie, you know. I figured I might get lucky if I just sold it just right. And we're going out to the car, and I'm making her help me to the car, you know. And every time I move, and then she'd grab hold of it. No, don't grab me there, you know. Oh, my God. Well, she got me into her car, and she goes around to get in, but she's not getting in. I'm like, what the hell is this bitch doing? Finally, after about 30 seconds, I got out of the car and stood up. What I did, I'm looking right into the barrel of a pistol. Oh. She was getting ready to shoot Ronnie.
What?
And I told her, I said, hell, why do you don't shoot that son of a bitch? She said, I'm making my money.
Oh, jeez.
That's what happens when you try to get too much sympathy.
I know. Well, you know, I almost got some sympathy that night. I rode in that plane, I rode in that plane with you. And we were up at going down to Pennsylvania. And Ronnie's like, you better come on up here and help me look for the landing strip. I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. I said, where's that? He goes, it should be right in front of it. I said, I don't see nothing. I said, you're ready to go down lower. He goes, we're about 50 feet off the ground right now. I said, get this son of a bitch out of here. But Ronnie's a damn good pilot, but a much, much better man.
Nice.
And I hope to see him soon because I'm moving back to Atlanta, and I'd love to get with him. And in fact, Ronnie, I need to talk to you because Buck Robley called me. And Buck's going to be doing some stuff out of Atlanta on a pay-per-view. You know, I got one match left in me.
Ooh.
How about you, old-timer?
Ooh, Ronnie. Ronnie, I think he's challenging you. What do you got to say about that, Ronnie?
His nipples have already gotten hard. I'm going to get the shit kicked out of me again.
Let me hear it.
He's the best, guys. He's the best, man. Ronnie, they got my number and stuff. Let's get together, man. I'll talk to you. It'd be great to see you again. I hope your health's well. I can't believe it, but I'm doing yoga now, Ronnie.
Wow.
Diamond Dallas Page has got me into that yoga stuff, and if somebody told me 30 years ago I was going to be doing yoga, I said, yeah, like I'm going to wrestle Ronnie Garvin, too. You know, well, there we go. I'm doing yoga now, and I've lost 30 pounds.
Wow.
And the other day, man, I was taking a shower, and I looked down, I thought I had 6 toes on one foot, but it wasn't. It was my penis. I just hadn't seen it in a long time. My belly was too far out there. But let's get together, Ronnie. Let's get together sometime, but I'd love to see you. You guys take care, and we'll get off here and aggravate somebody else.
Thanks, Jake. Good talking to you.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Love you too. Ronnie, how do you compete with that right there? Jake the Snake Roberts calling in, wanting to speak with you. That was definitely him, the real deal. He said a mouthful there, didn't he?
He was one of the best. I mean, I'll tell you what, good memories. Good memories.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, they don't make guys like that anymore.
Well, I don't think they can. I think there's probably some laws against that.
They threw them all away.
I have a feeling that I have a feeling. I'm sorry.
That's what the business today needs is more guys like that. You know, more guys like that with the talent, and I mean just natural, just natural. You know, not muscle bound, not. But I'll tell you what, he had matches and kept the people on their toes and on the edge of their seats and standing and screaming and I mean, you don't see very much of that today.
No, you don't. No, I totally agree with you on that one. And I know that you guys probably shared a few beers back in the day. If I had to guess, I'm sure there was a few teeth wrapped around some bottles back in the times. You and Jake, obviously.
Well, we didn't care to get hurt a little. I mean, we come out of there with welts and bumps and knots and and right back at it the next day. Yeah, it was just, and I think people enjoyed it too.
Oh, I know.
It reflected in the crowds. But we used to pack some of those places. I mean, I remember going to Baltimore and up in Michigan and some of those towns, and the buildings were packed.
Wow.
And the Omni in Atlanta, other weeks to draw there.
There's got to be some stuff on YouTube with that strap match. I'm going to be looking for that here after I check out Ivan Koloff's daughter's page, and I'm going to look for Ronnie Garvin and Jake the Snake Roberts with a strap match in the Omni. There's got to be something out there with that. And if I could go back 30-something years ago and buy a ticket to the front row and see that again, I would do without even thinking. And it's just great memories, like you said, and a class act, you and him both. And, boy, you want to see some great wrestling action, go back and look at Georgia in those days, early 80s like that, and, up into the mid-80s and stuff before you went to Crocker Promotions. We got about another 3 minutes left here to go, Ronnie, but anything else you want to talk to or tell the wrestling fans, or even just talk about in regards to anything that you've always just wanted to say on the air, or anything about your career, about wrestling in general, or the NWA, or anything at all?
Well, I'm just very grateful that I had the life that I've had, and I enjoy every day of it. And I've always made the best of it. And wrestling has been super, super, super good to me, and I have always admired the respect to the wrestling fans. I've always recognized that without the fans, we wouldn't have been anything.
Right.
Any sports.
Right.
I mean, you wouldn't be anybody without your fans. And I've been. And right now I'm in the mountains enjoying my life. And what a great career I had also when I quit wrestling. I flew cargo. I was flying cargo for 13 years. And I had the best time doing that.
Wow. And
so, of course, everything comes to an end. I quit flying about 5 years ago. And right now I'm doing a lot of hunting, and I'm in the wilderness. And when I go to the city, I just get in my car and drive to the city.
Beautiful. I'd say I wish I had a life like Ronnie Garvin, being one of the best professional wrestlers ever, having strap match with Jake the Snake Roberts, flying airplanes, living in the mountains, and coming and going as I wanted to. Now that right there is the perfect example of what a life should be, and I'm very happy for you, man. I'm glad that, in your later years like this, away from the wrestling ring, so to speak, that you are enjoying and doing what you want to do. That's very special, and a lot of people are not able to do that, and sometimes they don't even act on it. So God bless you for that, man. I would love to see where you lived one day and, check out those mountains, because I'm all about that.
You have an open invitation. Anytime you want to come up, you just let me know.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. We'll,
you will not believe where I built a house.
Is that right? You got pictures and everything?
I've had people come up here, turn around halfway up, and said nobody can be living up there.
How far up are you, like, on the mountain? Is it like a certain amount of feet?
It's very steep, but it's not that bad. But it's for some people that live in the city, they might as well be in the tundra and way up in the Arctic Circle or something.
Oh wow! Now see, I'm total opposite. I would love that. I mean, I'm sure you do a lot of fishing out there as well. You got a lot of streams and lakes by you.
Oh, there's some lakes around, but I'm on top of a mountain, and there's a lot of wild game, a lot of bears and, and bobcats and deers and coyotes, and there's wildlife all around me. It's beautiful.
Good for you.
And it's quiet. You don't hear nothing. No neighbors. You can do basically what you want. I've got a gate at the bottom that's a half a mile down, and it's just surrounded with trees and national forests adjoining the property. Beautiful, gorgeous.
Very cool.
But like I say, when you want to go somewhere, you just get in the vehicle and you change your scenery.
There you go.
And in winter time, I'm going to be traveling in the south. and because I'm not going to put up with the snow up here.
Wow.
I'm too old for that.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that one, brother. I hear you for sure. But God bless you for that, man. I'm really happy for you, Ronnie. I really mean that. And I know you and I will keep in touch here over the years and whatnot. I don't know if you do any emailing or anything like that. I don't know if you're the computer kind of guy. I don't know there's even computer service up.
My computer is in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm up here. And my wife is moving up here the next couple of weeks.
Oh, great.
We're going to try to figure out how to get an internet up here. So far, we haven't been very successful.
You get it worked out.
Internet.
Hey, Ronnie, do you still speak with Jimmy at all? Jimmy Garvin?
I haven't seen Jimmy 10 years, maybe.
Is that right?
Yeah. I don't know where he's at. I don't know if he's still in Charlotte. It's been, I would say, probably 10 years.
Wow, that is a long time, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't. There's a lot of guys I don't keep in touch with, and this life goes by so fast.
yes, it does.
I just spent. You won't believe who I spent 5 hours with last Saturday.
Who?
Ole Anderson. He turned 70 years old, and I drove 430 miles to go be with him.
You're kidding me, really?
Ole Anderson, yes. Him and I go way back.
Oh,
we were partners in 71 and 72 for a few months.
Jeez. How's he doing? Is he okay? Is he staying?
He has MS, and
Yeah.
he's down to where he can't walk and can't get dressed. But he good attitude.
Good.
He looks good as far as his, but he can't function very well.
Boy, you want to talk one of the most creative minds ever in the business, man. You got to bring up Ole Anderson. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, Ole and I, we talked about that this past weekend. We used to butt heads and headbutts each other, and he still remembers it. I do too.
That's great. That's awesome. Ronnie, I really enjoyed this last half hour talking with you and discussing your career and what you're doing now. You're a good friend, and I really appreciate you coming on the air with us and returning our calls and all that good stuff. They don't make a lot of people like Ronnie Garvin anymore, and if they do, I want to meet them because I like to see another excellent person like yourself. So, Ronnie, you take good care of yourself. Enjoy that beautiful scenery you got. Enjoy the beautiful mountains and the serenity that you live every single day. I wish you nothing but the best, buddy, and I know we'll be in touch very, very soon, okay?
All right. Well, do keep in touch, please, and you have a great day, and give me a call anytime.
You got it, buddy. I definitely will. Take good care.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. All right, Ronnie Garvin, there you go. This is what's cool about Ronnie Garvin and even people like Ivan Koloff. I feel a lot of love in this room today. The National Wrestling Alliance, Jim Crockett Promotions, and how about a special appearance by Jake the Snake Roberts? I mean, that was totally cool, man. What a great show that was. And, to have him basically all come on like this, it was truly amazing. Now, before we go, just a couple minutes here. I know we got to get moving. But TNA Wrestling, we talked about it. TNA Wrestling is coming to Arizona. October 13th and the 14th, 2012, this year, of course, Bound for Glory, the big Super Bowl event for TNA Wrestling. Should be a fantastic program. They always do a great job on their pay-per-views. I've seen a lot of pay-per-views by TNA, and they always do a fantastic job entertaining, working their asses off inside the ring, taking time for the wrestling fans, showing showing the people that they're the ones who come out to the shows, and they appreciate that. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it from the front office. I've talked to a lot of the people inside the business who know it, and good for you guys in TNA. I really, really can't wait to see the show. They're coming to Phoenix, Arizona. TNA is coming. TNA is coming. October 13th is the Hall of Fame ceremony where Sting will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Also, that fan intervention evening will be about talking to the wrestlers, sharing some stories, doing autographs, pictures, whatever you want. That's going to be taking place at the Point Hilton in Phoenix, Arizona on October 13th. Hall of Fame is later that night. And then also, too, the next day on Sunday the 14th, the big pay-per-view spectacular by TNA Wrestling. We're talking about Bound for Glory. Right now in the main event, we're going to see Jeff Hardy take on Austin Aries, who is the current TNA champion. And the good part about it, Jeff Hardy had to work his butt off to get where he was. He defeated Samoa Joe in the semifinals, took on Bully Ray, who's one of the greatest heels in the business right now, and a fantastic wrestler as well as that. Taking on both of them guys to get to the championship match against Austin Aries, TNA Bound for Glory, Phoenix, Arizona, at the Grand Canyon University Arena in Phoenix. That's going to be Sunday night, October the 14th, 2012. What a spectacular show it's going to be. I can guarantee you do not want to be anywhere else if you're in the Phoenix area, or anywhere in the state of Arizona for that matter, than at the Grand Canyon University Arena on the 14th of October for TNA Bound for Glory. And I'm sure in the next coming few weeks here, we'll be definitely having some of the greatest superstars from TNA right here on Off the Top Rope Radio. I've been in contact with some very nice gentlemen at TNA Wrestling. They care about their fans, they care about their product, and they bring you good, action-packed, creative, interesting professional wrestling, which is sometimes in these days hard to find. There's a lot of independent promotions who try, but TNA Wrestling is established. They do it the right way. They do it the way it should be, and I can't wait to see them come out here for their first time, hopefully not their last, to the Arizona Arena. Again, Grand Canyon University Arena, October the 14th. That's a Sunday for the pay-per-view spectacular, Bound for Glory, and the fan interaction night the night before, and the 13th at the Point Hilton, as well as the Hall of Fame induction that is, with Sting, should be spectacular. So we're going to talk more and more about that as time goes by here, leading up to that pay-per-view in just about a month. So again, everybody, thank you for tuning in. I want to thank Uncle Ivan Koloff, the Russian Bear, for joining us. I want to thank the Hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin, a good person as well. Jake the Snake Roberts, thank you for calling in as well, big man. And to all the fans who have been listening to us, watching us, put stuff up on the board there. Darla, it's good to see you up there. CAC Morgan, it's awesome to see you. It's nice to hear your voice, Darla, at least in print. And one way or the other, we're going to always bring you the best professional wrestling talk that we can, because right here at KQCK radio station, heard exclusively on KQCKlive.com, Off the Top Rope Radio, we care about you, the wrestling fan. We love this professional wrestling business. It is a passion of all of ours who listen, and we thank you very much for tuning in. So again, Ivan Koloff, Ronnie Garvin, Jake the Snake Roberts, Joe C. across the board, Brian Shank, Darla, CAC Morgan, all the countless wrestling fans who tuned in and turned on to Off the Top Rope Radio. We thank you. We love you. We'll see you next week, the 26th of September, for Off the Top Rope Radio, right here on KQCK, on KQCKlive.com. Thank you, everybody.
Bocce Italian Bistro of Arizona is the best-kept secret this side of Italy, located in Southeast Mesa between Hawes and Ellsworth Road on Germain. For authentic family-cooked Italian cuisine, come and savor delicious dishes made from the freshest ingredients. We promise to deliver a true Italian family dining experience. Open for lunch Tuesday through Friday from 11 a.m. with all new $3.95 lunch specials, including our world-famous meatball and sausage sandwiches. Or indulge in one of our Frank the Godfather special sandwiches today. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday open from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Come and experience true Italian perfection, Bocce's Italian Bistro. Visit the website bocceitalianbistro.com. That's BACIITALIANBISTRO.com. Located at 8830 East Germain Road in Mesa. You deserve the best.
Tan Motorsports, located in Queen Creek, specializes in off